welcome everyone. The Ballers are in the house. Week 1 is only 1 hour and a half away. Peter, Will, looking forward
Absolutely.
to it.
Football week is finally here. Season openers are going to happen. There's a lot of games, so many games, and it will be really interesting to see what all the build up in the off season, all of the hype, all of the denial. Teams get to see what's real now. It's live football. It's not preseason football anymore. Starters are going to play. We're going to see where each team is at. So yeah, can't wait to go. It's going to be good.
Peter,
I'm just excited week one is finally here. So we get to see what all the hype in the off season is about.
well, without further ado, we're going to get right into the games and we're going to talk about Thursday Night Football first off. What a game we've got. Rams, Bills. Couldn't have asked for a better game, really, could we?
No, I think it's an awesome start to the season, and I think the NFL always starts off the league with having the Super Bowl champs against a perennial contender right off the gate, a team that was almost there. So, especially for the Buffalo Bills, this is a really good opportunity for them to sort of like impose their presence. And I think the Rams as well are showing, look, we're not in a Super Bowl slump. We're out here. We're ready to keep on competing. So it's a really good litmus test. Both these teams are going to play hard football, but also being the first game of the season, they have to get rid of some of these cobwebs. So I think it's a really good matchup to start off, and I think everyone's excited to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be a very exciting game because you got two powerhouses in NFL. The Bills and the Rams are two of the NFL powerhouses. Most of their roster stuff largely remain intact. They've got great key core players. So it's gonna be one for the ages. I just hope that's as exciting as it's built to be. I just hope that we get sort of like an offensive show.
I think that's what we all want. But there's some really good matchups. We've got Diggs against Ramsey.
I swear this is not yo, yeah,
Stefan.
yeah, he's playing.
So the guy who's not playing is Van Jefferson for the Rams, so he is out injured. Bills, they've
I
got
think Trevor White is not playing.
he's not on the injury report, so is he on a longer injury?
He's on the pup list.
He's on the pup list, so therefore he's going to be out for a little bit. So no Tre'Davious White, so that has an impact on the on the defensive capability of the Bills, but they've got a bit of strength and depth, don't you think?
They do,
Yeah, I
but
mean
they
that's
don't
one of
have. But their corners are not like number one, like Tre'Davious. Tre'Davious is
Yeah.
able to match up with a number one, so he could match up with an Allen Robinson on the outside. I'll probably match up with Cooper Cup if Cooper Cup goes on the outside. So that's gonna be one of those things that the Bills have to work through. It's still a great roster, and they'll still be able to compensate for it. But it'll be interesting to see how the Bills are gonna combat that since they don't have the number one corner.
Yeah, no, I think the Bills this offseason, one of the things they tried to do was build more depth across the team. So, I mean, this is, like I said, a really good litmus test to see where they're at. In terms of the matchups early, yeah, I mean, pick your poison. I think both offenses are going to come out, test the field early and see what they can do. So, 100%. They're not holding their punches in this game, and it's really going to set the tone heading forward for the rest of the season. You know, just think one of these teams is going to walk out of here with a loss to start off the season. So
Okay.
that's huge.
What is the key to this game for you guys?
I would
Is
say
there a
for the
key
Buffalo
matchup on the
Bills,
pitch, or is it on the pitch? Yeah, we're going to use the word pitch because we're Brits and on the field.
yeah.
But what's the key matchup? Do you think? Because do you think it's Bills' offensive line versus that Rams defensive line, or do you think it's elsewhere, effectively between corners and the wide receivers?
I mean, what I want to
And
see is I want to see the Bills keep their identity from last season, but I want to see them explore the run a bit more. Because don't get me wrong,
Hmm.
they had Singletary back there, but it wasn't enough. But you know who they have now?
James
James
Cook as
Cook.
well.
And James Cook's been turning heads in camp. He's been showing like a new speed, a new tempo, and it's going to be really interesting to see. Because from what I'm hearing, in terms of speed and acceleration, I mean, a lot of people have said he's faster than his brother. So it's going to be really
He's
interesting
smaller
to
than his
see.
brother, though,
He's
isn't he?
smaller than his brother, but his
I was
that's,
gonna.
acceleration
that's
and quickness is there. So I want to see if the Buffalo Bills can come out with a more formidable run game just to try and mix things up. Because I think you have to. Every season you have to adapt because a lot of teams are prepared for what you brought last year. But what they want to see is what's your identity this season. So I really want to see what the Buffalo Bills are going to be doing on the ground because I know they can do it through the air. How about
Peter,
yourself?
you were
um
gonna say stuff.
the first I'm not sure. I mean, because it's small, it's 190 pounds. I mean, he's got a speed. I get that, but I'm just thinking in a game like this. Well, maybe if it's he could be like a change of pace back. For
Yeah,
instance,
for
like a
sure.
Singletary is one. They've
He
got
could
some.
be catching balls out of the
He's
I think.
backfield.
he's
That's the
not
thing.
he's not their bell cow. He's not a guy that you're going to give the ball 30 times. He's going to be their outside guy, their Camara guy, the guy that they can line up in the slot. Not quite Debo Samuels, but someone that you can sort of motion into just enough to confuse the opposing team. And because, like I said, I think he'll make his presence known early because you can't prepare a defense for that kind of speed. So when they see it, defenders are going to start teeing off on it. So I just want to see how he's going to play. I mean, that's one of the rookies in this game that I really want to see how they're going to use him. But I think they've gained a really good weapon, almost like a Darren Sproles-esque weapon that they can utilize in the run and pass game. So yeah, but
I
he's not a
mean,
bell cow, Pete. He's not a bell cow.
He's definitely not a bell cow. We know
No.
that for certain.
Yeah,
His size doesn't it doesn't lend it towards that, but he's definitely
I
going to be usable.
my matchup, my key to the game is the trenches, like how the Bills defensive line with addition of Von Miller and their pass rush, how they're gonna affect the Rams offensive line because the Rams don't have Andrew Whitworth. They also, I think, they lost one of their starting guards, which they've replaced. So how's the offensive line gonna play with the Buffalo Bills offensive line? And also on the Bills side, one of the things I'm curious to see is would there be continuity because their OC moved on to become the Giants head coach, Brian Dable, and Dable had a great connection with Josh Allen, designing that offense, helping with his development. So you ask the question: can the new OC who was promoted within maintain a status quo? It's very possible, but then my caveat is this: it's like sometimes there's a little bit of a regression, not a big regression, but a slight regression because yes, you promote from within, but is it going to call the sequence of plays exactly how Brian Daboll calls it? Because it could be the same offense, but play callers make a huge difference in terms of what plays they call at what point or what
Mhm.
times in the game. So that would be something that'll be very interesting to see. So it's definitely an exciting matchup. Both teams have their strengths and weaknesses, but it makes for an exciting matchup to open the season. And a key, like I said, for me, comes down to the trenches and who's ready to play.
yeah. I think even with the play calling differences, what you'll find is that the core of what their identity is and what they're aiming for, like the core schemes are still going to be there. But there's going to be like an interesting twist on it. So that's what I'm looking to see. It's never going to be the same. The Rams, on the
Okay.
other hand,
Mhm.
I think I really want to see because everyone knows what's going to happen with Cooper Cup, but I really want to see if the Rams can
Get
can
Allen
go
Robinson
outside and
firing.
get. Yeah, that's what they're going to have to do because I think they have to establish a number two, like a number 2 and 3 there because Cooper Cup right now, the secret's out. teams are going to double him. They're going to make sure they're going to take him
but it's
away
very, like Pete was
very hard.
saying, it's very difficult to double people out of the slot.
Yeah, because then you end up with sort of defenders almost stepping on each other's feet. So it's easy to do that on an outside guy because there's more space. But I think both teams will be prepared.
Well, one thing that we know is that the week 1 is the most prepared game that any team has in a season because they have the whole off season to prepare for it.
Yeah. And it's an important game as well.
That's true.
Yeah.
But some teams come out. Some teams come out in week 1 and it's like they didn't even prepare. Oh.
No. It's not that that's not a lack of preparation. That's a lack of execution. It's a big difference.
But the week 1 game is important because what it does, like I said, one of these teams is going to lose today, and they're both contending for a championship. So so it's basically a situation where if you take that loss, especially as your first game, it plays on your nerves. Well, they're all professionals. They've been there, done that. Losses happen, but when you're like a returning champion or someone with high aspirations, and you've already got that 0-1 on your record. You know what I mean? It makes you understand that, hey, we've got to get this ship going. We didn't perform the way we needed to. So it's an important game. And a lot of teams, like seasons can sometimes be decided. I'm not saying like all overall, but the tone of the season, especially in the first half of the season, the first 6 games can usually be decided on this first game out. If you play abysmally, it leaves a lot of people sort of looking around saying, what's wrong with the team? Like, what do we need to do to improve?
Yeah,
but if
I think what it is
well,
is
it's a big
key
boost.
not to overreact. But okay, it's predictions time. Peter, who's going to win?
I'll go with the Rams.
Will?
I'm going to go with Buffalo.
And I'm going with Buffalo. So Peter's putting it in because we are going to show every week who has done well and who has done poorly. And we're going to have a little championship between the 3 of us. The prize is absolutely nothing.
Bragging rights.
Bragging rights.
I can read the field better.
Yeah. So 2 for the Bills and 1 for the Rams. But we have some very juicy ties come this weekend, and one of those features the Arizona Cardinals against the Kansas City Chiefs. Peter, what are the entire keys to the game from both sides, not just your Arizona Cardinals?
Well, I think this game comes down to the wide receiver cornerback matchups at the end of the day, because Cardinals don't have the best secondary at this moment in time. Secondary is made up by Murphy. We just traded for Trevor Mullen, and you've got Michael Wilson from last year. So these are a young cornerback group with not much veteran leadership or veteran playing a cornerback group. The Chiefs have a good defense. It's just that both defenses are not at their strongest, you would say, on paper. So I think this game comes down to which defense plays better on the day, which defense comes out ready for week 1.
Or which receiver plays better.
Yeah, that's true as well. Which receiving core plays better, because the loss of Tyreek Hill, yes, we know the Chiefs will find a way to still score points. By the end of the day, it still takes away a big part of what they do, because Tyreek was a matchup nightmare. His speed, his ability to just cut on a dime, his ability to make cuts without sacrificing speed was one of the best features he had for this offense. And now he's gone. So, will Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Sky Moore, will they be able to, and Miko Hardman, will they be able to pick up? And adding Travis Kelce as well. Well, these are good weapons that Patrick Mahomes has, but the question is, will these weapons rise to the occasion and perform? Another thing is that Arizona is a team that they come to play week 1. Kyler has never lost a week 1 game in his NFL career. He's always ready to go in week 1. So it's going to be fascinating. We just got report this evening that Rondell Moore just had hamstring injuries, so I'm certain that he's going to miss the game.
Yeah, he's got
It's
limited.
going to be
It's
counted out.
limited in
Is
practice.
it an
yesterday.
injury or it was yesterday?
Don't know.
When did he
Limited
get
today? So
He
limited
got it
today?
today, so
he's
they're going
probably
to do
not gonna
MRI
play.
tomorrow. So he's not going to play. They're talking about doing
It's-
MRI to see the severity of it. So
did
that-
Zach Ertz take a? So Zach Ertz is listed with a calf injury. Did not practice today.
But did he practice
I don't
earlier
really-
in the week?
He
Like-
got limited practice on Wednesday. The thing is, he's a
currently on
vet,
the
so you
injury
don't know.
report, Arizona currently is listed a lot of injuries, especially on the offensive side of the ball, including DJ Watt. But then I don't know how true those are because Cliff Kingsbury likes to play mind games because the weeks whereby he put people on injury report and they still play at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing
So I don't
the
know how
one-
true this is.
The only thing about the NFL is that you're not allowed to put
Have to
injuries that
declare.
don't exist.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but
I
the
think it's
thing is,
something-
but here's the thing though: how do
There's
you
always
prove the injuries
niggles.
don't exist?
well, it depends on the severity of it. Like if it's like, let's say he's pulled a hammy, but it's something like you can stretch off, massage, and it's okay. There's a
That's
different.
that's never possible. Though, is it?
I'm
It's a
saying,
bad
I'm saying,
example.
yeah, but I'm saying, let's say you've got cramps on your hamstring.
Yeah.
Cramps on the hamstring. You know, lack of salt, perhaps after after training, and then
No,
you're
cramps is
away, and then
nothing.
you
Cramps go
perhaps
after a
you
couple of
perhaps you
hours.
stretch that and say, yep, he's had like hamstring.
Yeah,
He's gonna get it
if-
checked.
But just
But you
for
have to
fun thing,
list what's there.
You know, severe cramps can induce a tear.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can, but here's the thing. Like I said, if an NFL team put like this player has a stomach injury, this player has an abdominal strain or whatever, how do you know they're lying?
Well, they have to be truthful, but that's mainly because of the fantasy football side of things.
No,
You know what I
but
mean?
here's the thing though. What I'm saying is, how does the NFL go to prove that you lied on your injury report for a
Correct.
particular week?
Yeah.
They can't prove it.
You can
Yeah.
extend, you can bend the
Teams-
truth. You can bend the
teams-
truth a bit.
Teams manipulate all the time. Like you can't.
Mhm.
And I think this season, one of the things that Cliff has been doing is he will give some sort of like vague answers to the injury report. But at the end of the day, the player will still play. So I'm fascinated to see who's going to play out of Arizona in week 1 right now. What the fans looking on Twitter that the fans from Arizona don't get is the fact that most of these players didn't play in preseason. So where's all these injuries coming from? They've just been training and getting ready for week 1. So
Yeah, soft tissue.
it's fascinating that they're getting all these injuries. I mean, I don't know if the fitness coaches are no good or not. The Chiefs also do have some injuries as well.
Or just things happen.
Yeah. I mean, if they all
most
roll
of
out,
the players have been playing the preseason. So my question is, Frank Clark,
yeah. If
I think-
Ertz is out there in pads, if they roll out in pads, then you know the deal, and
Yeah.
the charade is over. You know, I think some teams
To
occasionally
be
do
honest,
this to try
we'll
and
know-
cover up things.
We'll know more when the Friday injury report comes out. That's
Yeah.
the bigger one.
That's the big
Thursday
one.
is
Yeah.
not as big.
So so my thing is that it's about matchups between the wide receivers and the cornerbacks for both sides and who gets the bet of the day. Biggest key to the game for me is Marquise Brown and Kyler Murray with the connection head off on week 1. My prediction
My
is that
fantasy
the
team
Browns-
hopes so.
I believe that they have this chemistry. I believe that they're gonna hit the ground running as a pass catching deal. But knowing how Kyler plays, I have fully faith that he's not gonna be tunnel vision and always trying to get the ball to Marquise. If he's open, he'll get him the ball. So it's gonna be an interesting game. The Chiefs are a very strong, formidable opponent, but Kyler's never lost week 1, so that makes it all very exciting. Will he have his first week 1 loss this week? You never know.
All right, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Which of the 3 wide receivers for the Chiefs will have the most yards receiving in this game?
We got McCall Hardman, Juju Smith.
Mecole Hardman, Marcus Valdes-Scantling. I'm not giving you an easy question. Who's going to have the most yards?
I'm actually gonna go with Juju. Yeah. And I know it's tempting to go with McCall because he's a big play threat. Like he'll get you over the top. But I think Juju he's a different type of receiver. They've never had like a possession receiver, like a like he's not pure possession, but they've never had a possession receiver in Kansas City. Well, Travis Kelce is one, but that's a tight end. But we've never had like a pure receiver that's possession. They've always had the speed guys out there, you know. So I think this adds like a new dynamic, and Patrick Mahomes is gonna know that, hey, I can go to this guy outside, and he's gonna muscle the ball out. He's gonna jump up.
For some reason, I think it's going to be MVS.
I mean, it could be. It could be.
MVS is supposed to be their deep threat, the proper deep threat now, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's where he may break the game open for the Chiefs. I think it's going to be some silly, big, long throw from Mahomes.
Yeah.
Just got this.
All right.
It's just getting open.
It's on a touchdown, but the thing is, he's going to get the most yards in the game based upon a play.
I just want to let you know that Buda Baker and Jalen Thompson are scrubs, okay?
Yeah, Buda Baker's not a scrub. Like, he won't get beaten across the middle clean. Yeah, you're gonna have to burn him clean. Like, it's not gonna be a rubbing route or crossing route. That's not gonna work on him. Like, you're gonna have to beat him like clean. So I think it's afterburners or just muscle him with.
And the thing is, Jalen Thompson is a very underrated safety in this league. I mean, I think a lot of teams, he doesn't have such big of a name, but he's one of the best safeties in the NFL.
I know statistically he was very good last season
and he was very good. And because we've got those safeties, I doubt MVS. It's a possibility, but I doubt that he'll be able to get deep when your safeties are that good, because they wouldn't. Mahomes has got an arm strength and can hit someone that deep. So you try to ensure that your safeties are back, then you're playing too high. I think Arizona play a lot too high just to try and limit long throws. I think the best way for Arizona to approach the game defensively is to let Mahomes drive to score. Don't give up big plays. Just limit it.
But you know what the thing was is Mahomes learned last season. He learned to do that. That's what I saw.
Yes, but I'm not saying that he can't. What I'm saying is that if you
because he learned
a drive thing.
Yeah, I think if he that could be the actual key to the game. Is that so? Mahomes will drive. Let's say he does drive the ball down the field, continually drive the ball down the field. It's then up to those wide receivers for Arizona to keep up with that from a catching point of view. Because do you think the running game is going to be the main thing that's going to keep you in the game?
I think that has to be the main thing. I think if Mahomes
to slow that game down,
the best way is to keep Mahomes on the sidelines. And I think I tend to think that we've got a better running back group than the Chiefs. Although the Chiefs have a good running back core, I don't think this is better than our core because James Conner had 18 touchdowns last season.
Pacheco and Rojo.
Yeah, I mean
exactly. So they have running back group, but I think we are dynamic in terms of we've got Eno, who's like a fast change of pace back. We've got Darrell Williams, who played for the Chiefs last year.
Do you think Eno's going to be a bit more this season than in previous seasons past?
Oh yes, certainly, because Eno is now running back too. He's taking over the Chase Edmonds role because Chase Edmonds was the RB2 who was being used in the passing game, and then he got injured, and James Conner stepped up. So James Conner proved, that he can also receive the ball out of the backfield. And James Conner is like a pounder rock type of thing. So I think the running game is going to be of the utmost importance in this game for Arizona if they keep Mahomes on the sideline. But it should be an interesting matchup. So we should see how it goes.
And it is in the desert.
Yeah.
The game is in the desert. Okay, predictions time. I know, Peter, who are you going to pick?
I don't know. I mean, it's a tough one. It's a tough one because I'm not that confident, especially on my defensive side, because we didn't make any significant moves on defense. We're just rolling with the young guys. And I'm not sure what we're going to get. You know, it could be they show up, they play hard, and okay, the young guys on defense have turned the corner and they're going to have a good season. or it could be a case of they're simply too young, need some chance of veteran additions in there. So, but having said all of that, um, I'll go with the Cardinals primarily because of Kyler Murray, because he hasn't lost week one in his career up to this point.
Homer
I think I think he's won two games and he has a tie. I think that was from his rookie year. So just go with the fact that he hasn't lost in week one. So that's why I'm going with it. Because if he had lost in week one before, then I probably would have picked against him. But he has a pretty good week one record, so I just try and back him to keep that going.
Well,
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go with. I was gonna go with Kansas City, but I think Pete's kind of convinced me here. Um, I feel as though Arizona are gonna bring like a different type of energy this season. You know, I think they kind of know a lot more about who they are, and they're not gonna shy away from it. And obviously, Kyler's playing with that chip on his shoulder. I think it will be a close game. You know, I think it will be a close game, and I wouldn't be
It
surprised
will
if
be.
Kansas City is able to pull away. But I'm actually going to root for Arizona here, and I think they're going to take the win, not by much. I think it's going to be close. It could go. It could be.
Ah.
It's going to come down to a one-score game.
and I think my homeboys manages to eke out a victory in this one, but I don't think it's gonna be like by any sort of margin. It's gonna be 2 points, 3 points, something silly like that. It could be 1 point for all that we know. It's gonna be a very close game, so it's not really much to pick on here. But I'm knocking that in. Right, next game, big game. Dallas, Tampa Bay. The blood sacrifice man versus Jerry.
We're at
I
the
mean,
thing.
Break down on this one, Will.
Tampa Bay versus Dallas. Like, I mean, part of me wants to just hate on Dallas the whole time, but I think Tampa Bay are going to take this. I think they're more prepared. I think they have more resources on both sides of the ball. The Dallas Cowboys, though, it's going to be interesting to see how their offense fares. You know, mainly because CD Lamb is now becoming their number one receiver. So they're going to use him as their number one, but is he going to be able to cope with that? Like Michael Gallup's coming, but he's coming off injury, so we need to see how he
He's still
performs.
limited in practice.
He's still limited, so I think I kind of think you have to play him because if you put CD out there with who else, like who's their 3 and 4, like it's basically like
So Chris Godwin had a full practice today for Tampa.
okay,
Julio had a
full
full
practice.
practice.
So they're coming full on, and Tom Brady's going to use this as a tune-up, man. Like I want Dallas to be more competitive, but I just don't think they're ready for it. Defensively, I think they can hang in there, but offensively, I think they're going to be. It all depends on what they get on the ground. I don't think it'll be the air. I don't think CD Lamb is going to be explosive in this game.
But
He'll be serviceable.
running through Vita Vea.
Yeah, exactly. And with what? Oh, I don't want to say washed. High mileage back, like Zeke Elliott. Like, is he going to regain his form? Like that doesn't happen unless you're Adrian Peterson. Like I don't see that happening. I know he's been
Drinking from
putting
the
in the
fountain
work.
of youth.
Fountain of youth, yeah, but it's just not going to happen. So I want to see what they do with Pollard. I want to see they have to have a run game in this to stay in it because I don't think they're going to be able to do it through the air. Tom Brady has too many weapons. He's too efficient. He's not going to make mistakes. This is a tune-up game for Tampa Bay, and I expect them to win. If Dallas do win this, I don't want to say it'll be a fluke, but it's going to be one of those situations where they make insane plays and Tampa Bay make errors, which is not Tampa Bay's MO, especially with who's their head coach? Todd Bowles back there. They're not going to be making these mental errors. So I just don't see how Dallas can win this game. So I'm going to go with Tampa Bay, man. It's an opening shot for me.
Peter,
How about you,
your
Pete?
thoughts on the game?
I'll go Tom. Because Dallas sometimes plays well in week one though. That's the thing. They come out firing sometimes, but I think this offseason they've been depleted. And even though as good as Micah Parsons will be, I think he probably might end up getting about 2 sacks. Because Brady's offensive line is not that good. And I know in the press conference he was saying that it's motivating the guys. Man, he's trying pretty. He knows his offensive line is not great. He's trying to motivate them guys, but they should be able to win week one, despite, and I think they might get to Brady a couple of times, especially Micah Parsons, because he probably will be motivated to play. But at the end of the day, I'll go Tampa Bay, just purely off the fact that they have more weapons than.
You look at the wide receiver core, as you say about weapons, right? Evans, Godwin, Russell Gage. Gage was pretty decent.
I don't think Godwin will be ready for though.
Godwin practiced fully today.
But do you think they're gonna make him full go? They're gonna ease him in. I think they will because of this comeback from
you think he'll be on a snap count?
Yeah, it's come back from an ACL. Players when they come back from ACL are not full go from week one though.
Yeah, so I'd expect it to be I think it'll be a snap count. I think he'll be on the field 60% of the time.
But when you think about it, they've got a much better receiving core than Dallas. Elena Fournette will do enough in the running game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Plus, one thing about Top Bowl's defense is that they come to stop the run. So,
and that's the strength of the Cowboys team generally, is to run the ball and then pass based upon that. We've seen when Zeke gets continually stuffed, and with the wide receiver core not being fully healthy, and CD now getting wide receiver 1 treatment. Let's see.
Absolutely.
My pick's going to be the Bucks. So this is the first game for us that we have all picked the same team. Finally, we agree on something. But next game, AFC West matchup is LA Chargers versus the Vegas Raiders. This is a hell of a matchup.
Yeah.
Because as we said, AFC West, anybody can beat anybody.
Yeah. It's tough. That being said, I can't wait to see Las Vegas. Like I said, I think on the last podcast with Finn on, I was saying, in my opinion, like they've got the best receiving core in the league. Waller, Renfro, Devontae, and you've got Josh Jacobs in the back. Like they are loaded. And, LA Chargers, I think, have better quarterback play, and I think that's going to help even the odds. But make no mistake, the LA Chargers are going to have to watch that defense. It's going to be an uphill struggle. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy for them. But I think this is a really good litmus test for Herbert. 100%. I think he's going to have to. Especially for a first game as a season opener, he might have to dig a bit deep here, because he hasn't quite got the same kind of tools. But talent-wise, he trumps the team. But he's going to have to dig deep. So I think this is, even if they lose this game, it's going to be a good learning experience to see where they're at and know where they need to be. Because you're playing someone from that division. You're playing someone from that conference. So
you say he doesn't have the tools available to him. He's still got Eckler.
Yep.
He's got Keenan Allen. He's got Mike Williams.
Yeah.
The same guys that he had last year. He's got Gerald Everett. So he made, So I think Everett's a decent tight end as well. Then,
yeah.
You've got other running backs, Josh Kelly, you've got Sony Michel, you've got Spiller, you've got Jalen Guyton who features a bit, you've got Josh Palmer. They've got
Mike Williams,
a good number of pieces. Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, they are a 1A and a 1B. They are not a 1 and a 2.
Yeah,
Mike Williams
Keenan Allen especially.
Like a 1B.
Keenan Allen especially, I think he's one of the more underappreciated receivers. He can run every route, can get open. So I agree with you on that. It's definitely a lot more, but I just don't see how you can. I mean, we haven't seen this from the Raiders. Sorry, not the. We haven't seen this from the Raiders, but it's like this is such a high firepower team right now, and they're coming with a new energy and confidence. I think it's going to be an interesting game to see.
Well, I hear what you're saying, right? Okay, so you think they have a very good wide receiver core, probably top 5 wide receiver core. For me, I won't put them number 1. The Raiders wide receiver core.
Who's your number 1?
I won't put them as number 1.
Who's your number 1 though? Name a better
Bucks.
receiving core. Oh.
If I look around the league,
Evans, Godwin, Julio.
I mean, Tampa Bay is up there. No, my number 1 receiving core is the Bengals, actually.
Yeah.
With the Chase, Higgins, and Boyd. Because
Boyd,
those three boys are really super talented, and on any other team, they could be number 1.
I guess, yeah, fine.
So you get what I'm saying, and they're very good core. So I like them as number 1 wide receiving core, and that's without a tight end. Because normally these days, when you talk about core, you throw in a tight end, and they don't really have a bona fide tight end yet.
Imagine
when they could get like a tight end and more of a Kelsey.
Have they got Hayden Hurst now, isn't it?
Yeah, he's all right. He's injury prone. So and he's serviceable as a tight end. So
Hunter Henry
that helps the cause. So what I'm saying is
the key for this game, though. I would think it's the battle between the offensive line of the Chargers and Max Crosby and Chandler Jones.
That's a matchup, but you can flip it the other way too, because Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack in those crowds.
Yep.
Because it works both ways. So I think the matchup is the trenches. Which pass rushing deal it can go off? What if they're both going off? Then both quarterbacks are gonna have a hell of a hard time.
But both of these quarterbacks though are not necessarily easy to sack. Like they can both move, and Herbert's got that physicality. Well, just in terms of sheer size, so it's not an easy sack. Not just that, but who have you got in the backfield? You know what I mean? If you double dip and you try and go for the quarterback and Josh Jacobs gets it, scoots past you, he's dangerous. Eckler as well.
Eckler's also a very good running back.
Yeah, Eckler. So you can't.
I would say Eckler's a tier above Josh Jacobs.
I would say if I was,
I wouldn't say that.
You've got to play this game. You've basically got to play this game. You play the run on the way to the quarterback. You cannot blindly go at these QBs, especially with the weapons they've got over the top, both sides.
I think
the abilities they have, they'll just dunk it over the top.
I think the reason why I say Eckler's a tier above because he's more potent in the passing game as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that, but sometimes so if the pass rushers are going off, then you go look at who can tote the rock better. If the pass rushers, it's not getting home, but you can see the pressure is coming on both sides.
Yeah,
you go rely on the running game a little bit more. But for me, the difference breaker right now for me going into this game is the secondaries of both teams. The Raiders have a bad secondary after trading away Trevor Mullen. Their cornerback group is not great. The Chargers have a good secondary because think about it. They've got Derwin James. They have a good free safety. They've got J.C. Jackson too.
I think we're going to
that could be the difference in the game. The cornerback groups.
Okay, so corners for Raiders are Rock Ya-Sin and Nate Hobbs listed, and J.C. Jackson and Asante Samuel, and they've got Nazir Adderley and Derwin James.
Jr.
So
Chargers have a better secondary.
Yeah.
Pardon? They've got a better secondary, so
and that could be the difference in this game.
And when you consider, like, if you look at, so they've got Joey Bosa, they've got Van Noy, they've got Mac.
Oh, Van Noy, Mac, yep. That's hard. But I tell you what, the best way to counter a pass rush, I actually think we're going to see a lot of the run game from both teams, only because the best way to counter a pass rush is you run at it. But the thing is, when you've got Mac and Bosa, usually there's one dominant guy, you run right at him to try and eliminate him. But both sides.
Well, you can run on both sides. Well, they'll try and see if they can run on both sides because they can't run on Mac. Mac is a very good run. So
that's what's going to happen. So I wouldn't be surprised if
they'll try and run on Bosa. But then if Bosa has improved, then hey,
this might be like a really Yeah, I think this matchup is going to be really entertaining. I
It's
think one of
gonna
the
be a
more
very
entertaining matchups
entertaining matchups this week.
because actually very evenly, like in terms of skills across both sides of the ball. Obviously Herbert is better than Carr over there, but I
Hmm.
honestly think this game is definitely going to have it's going to be an entertaining one to watch. In terms of my prediction for it, I'm
Stick
going to
with your
go
guts.
with I can't deny Herbert, man. You know what I mean? I just can't deny Herbert. I think
Oh
he's going to be the
man,
X
come
factor
on,
here.
man.
He's going to be the X factor here.
Uh, yeah, I think Herbert's going to win this,
I'm
but
I'm
I
gonna go. I'm
think
going with LA Chargers.
I'm going Chargers as well.
Yeah, I know Pete was expecting me to say Vegas.
You were going Vegas. I think I convinced you otherwise. You were honing on the Vegas Raiders because of the receiving core. But me, I picked the Chargers from the get-go because of the secondary. I think that's the difference in the ball game. Because everything kind of seems a bit about even, but I think it's that Chargers secondary makes the difference.
Okay, next, Peter, who are you picking?
I just said Chargers.
Oh, you're saying Chargers, so it's a sweep. Okay, all right. Next, AFC East tie between the Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots. I think this is a really intriguing matchup. For
I
a
think it
week
is
one game,
too.
this is a really, really good game.
I'll just come
Because,
out and say it.
go on, you're going to say Bill's going to
Um,
win, right?
I'm going with the Patriots. I'm going with Bill.
oh,
Just okay. The reason why I'm going with Bill is because I
This
have
is
to
in
say it to
Miami.
believe it with Mike McDaniel. Are we talking about Miami game or which game are we talking about?
Miami,
This is
New
in,
England.
it's in Miami.
Oh yeah, it's in Miami. It doesn't matter. Bill don't matter what
You
the
don't think it
venue is.
matters?
Doesn't matter where it is. We come to play. We can wear our
I
defense.
think I
I don't
think
need
I think you're
defense.
putting I think you're putting a lot of emphasis on Bill Belichick here. The same guy. I mean,
Okay,
best coach ever. But
so
hear me out, Pete.
listen.
Hear me
I'm
out, Pete.
going with the status quo because with here's my caveat is this. Yes, Miami has improved. They've got Tyreek
Mm-hmm.
Hill, Jalen Waddle. They got all of that. But my thing
You got
is
Chase
this:
Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, Miles Gaskin.
they have to show me because I don't believe in Mike McDaniel yet. He has to show me something in week one. If he shows me it, then
Yeah, I mean Mike McDaniel. I think he's going to call a good game in terms of X's and O's. I'm not going to doubt his X's and O's. But how is he in game time situations? Because usually when he's made pivotal plays in the NFL, where you have to like say this is the game decider. Mike McDaniel's might
Mm-hmm.
call that play, but in terms of what to do in that situation, it's usually been the head coach. You know what I mean? So now that
Mhm.
he's calling the strings, he's gonna be in those moments where he's got to know when to throw a flag. He's got to know when
He's
to be
gonna
like,
call
no,
plays, by the way.
yeah, he's gonna call plays as well. So for me, part of me is like I'm rooting for Bill Belichick, but I just think there's been a bit too much smoke and mirrors on this OC over there, you know. And I think I'm looking at that defense and I'm thinking to myself, I mean, Bill Belichick always coaches his guys. These
Mm-hmm.
guys might as well have no names on their jerseys, just numbers, because they'll find a way to
Mhm.
play and they'll find a way to contain these players. But I just don't see them hanging with Waddle and Tyreek.
Yeah,
You know,
that's actually you
that's the
actually give me a
only
good
thing
point.
he can do. One, don't get me wrong, you can eliminate one. Bill Belichick will eliminate one, but both of those guys on the field,
So technically, this
I
is
just don't see it.
so the next three games we're talking about, this one included,
Mm,
is the revenge series. So we've got this is the Devontae Parker revenge game,
yep.
as we'll call it, because he went from the
We know
Dolphins.
Devontae Parker can play, regardless of Mac Jones and Patriot
Well, no, he can't play,
receivers.
but he can't play regardless of the quarterback that he's with. Because if the
Yeah,
quarterback that he's with can't get in the ball,
that's not his fault. But I think
he's
Mac
no good to
can.
Mona Beast.
Yeah, I think Mac can.
Okay,
But
but what I would say, Tyreek, Jalen, Gesicki, Chase Edmonds, it's going to be too much offensively. And one thing that Tua tends to be, he's accurate. He's bloody accurate with that ball.
Very accurate. Yep. And he's healthy now. He's had a whole year and an off season where the hip injury. He had that hip injury last year, coming off Alabama, and he's learning on the fly and he's adjusting to the speed of the game. And I think he's made that jump because remember the talk out of camp was, oh, he's missing his receivers. Towards the end, everyone was saying he was looking great. From the footage we've seen, he's looking as advertised. So I think this might be the year he takes that step forward. So the only reason, this is my pick, I'm going to say Miami to win. The only reason is Bill Belichick's defense is going to play great, but I don't think they can contain two monsters on the outside. One, yes, but you can't do two. You can double team one.
And they don't have
Can't do both.
And you look at the corners that they've got. Jonathan
Exactly.
Jones, Jalen Mills. Do you think that's
JC Jackson's gone. They let him walk.
The X Factor's gone.
So it's basically like, I don't see, because you have to understand, Waddle and Tyreek is faster, but only by a hair. Waddle is also incredibly fast.
Lightning
It's
quick,
basically lightning quick. So it's very hard. And this team is built around those types of matchups. So they're going to force you to show you what you can do. I don't doubt Bill Belichick. I think he'll find a way, but it's going to be too late in the game. Or his corners are going to get burnt out and tired because he's going to have to rotate guys. Like I said, the defense right now for them is just numbers on jerseys. Like you can just remove the names. Like that's how he's coaching that defense. They've got to minimize errors because if they make one mistake, if they turn over the ball once or twice, that could be the game against this Miami offense. And the Miami defense is no slouch either. Mac Jones is going to have to show poise, and he's not calling plays, on the field yet. He's not that good yet, but I don't know who is. Matt Patricia, Joe Judge.
It takes a few years to get to that
Matt
point.
Patricia or Joe Judge, who's calling plays. And I can't wait. If they lose this game, and let's say the offense is a bit naff, I can't wait for the press conference because Bill Belichick was like, oh, who's going to be pointing fingers now? This is why he should have just been clear from day one, because now people are going to be pointing fingers. Like,
Who is it?
That was his
Was
play.
that guy?
No, I was calling that play on that series. No,
That guy.
that's what I'm saying. So you've got to have one guy calling the plays and you've got to stick to it. Shannon Sharp said Monday to Friday, you can all dip your ideas in what you need to do on offense. But come Saturday, there's one guy calling it and there's one guy saying, this is our game plan. You can't be having people, too many cooks will spoil the broth. And that being said, I'm going to go with Miami to win. And I don't think it will be a close game. I think it will be 2-3 scores.
Oh, they're going to blow the Patriots?
2-3 scores and people questioning that mysticism.
2-3 scores, so it's a blowout, right? So you calling it a blowout?
It's not a blowout. 2 scores isn't a blowout. 2 scores, Pete, not 3. 2 scores. 2 scores isn't a blowout.
Come on. Say it with your chest. Are they going to blow out the Patriots? Come
I'm
on.
gonna actually, you know what? Bill Belichick has been known to have these shot games, so I'm gonna say, yeah, they are gonna blow them out of 3 scores.
All right.
3 points.
I'm gonna say Dolphins to win. That's it. I'm gonna say Dolphins to win. And you've said Patriots to win. You're sticking with Bill.
Someone's got to.
Right. All right. Next game. Carolina, Cleveland. The revenge game. The Baker Mayfield revenge game. What percentage of the plays are going to be runs for Cleveland?
Like 80%.
80%. But they can run it. I'm not gonna. You can't hold that against them. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Ernest Johnson.
But will the defense allow them to? That Panthers defense.
Oh, I thought the Browns can run on it. The Panthers defense is good. Don't get me wrong. They got good players to play on the defensive line, but and here's my thing: Baker will play well because Baker usually plays well when he's got like that chip on his shoulder, especially against a team that unceremoniously removed him from his job. All these narratives in the offseason and everything.
He's gonna be so motivated.
So he's gonna be fired up. He's gonna play very well. But ultimately, I think the Browns will win because Here's the thing.
Who's playing? Is that
Upset
QB?
alert.
Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett, right?
Yes, the reason
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
favoring the Browns, I'm leaning towards the Browns as this. If you're playing a game against a former teammate of yours who is an all-pro and is probably one of the top 3 pass rushers in the league, you're not gonna say words like I'm aiming for this game and I'm gonna get my revenge and all that revenge talk, because Myles Garrett and the defensive line and those defensive players on the Browns are gonna use that bulletin board and they're gonna come and hunt Baker.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They've been wanting
And
to do
also
it
the
in
Panthers
practice.
offensive line was having some issues, but granted they drafted a left tackle in the draft who's meant to be one of the top highest rated prospects, but he's still a rookie at the end of the day. So it's going to be real interesting to see if the Browns defense, especially the defensive line with those pass rushers and Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney, are they going to get Baker?
All
That's the
right.
biggest question on this picture for me.
Yeah, I actually think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead,
Well,
Dilly. Go ahead.
So, I think Panthers win, and I think the key is, well, there is one thing about the Panthers is CMC had a full practice today, and appeared on the injury report with a shin injury. Now
You're not playing.
he's playing.
He's playing, man.
He's done a full practice. He's got a shin
Shin?
injury. Nah, he's playing.
That sounds like someone's like heel has sort of tapped him on the
Kicked him
shin.
in,
It's a
yeah.
bit sore, maybe a bit swelling, but nah, it's fine. Cortisol, he's there. He's good to go. It's all right. He's playing.
So
They might minimize his carries a little bit, but
No.
I think he's going to play.
He's gonna run. He's gonna run a fair bit, and
Yeah.
what I'm.
And I mean, Cleveland in this game for me,
Uh-huh.
they don't want to lose this game. You know, I think it's more the coaching staff don't want to lose this game because they've been running Baker's name through, so they're gonna bring their A game. That defense finally gets a chance to hit Baker Mayfield if they've ever wanted to in practice. Now they get to do it. And also with Jacoby Brissett, they're going to lean heavily on the run, mainly because if you look at their QBs on the roster, you've got Josh
Also,
Dobbs, Kellen Munns, Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. You've got to lean behind the run.
Okay, would you say that defensively Carolina's strength is in their secondary rather than their front?
I'll say so because they've got
It's in the
JC Horn.
Well,
The guy
Xavier
that they
Woods, Jeremy Chin, J.C. Horn, Dante Jackson. Then you got a good player in Shaq Thompson in the linebacker side.
Yeah. So they're obviously, I think Cleveland Browns will run the ball, which means they're not going to put up a lot of points, you know. And when you get one-dimensional, what I think Carolina to win this game, I think the Carolina Panthers have to let Baker's hands go. Like they basically got to give him the ability to say, you know what, test him deep. Let's get ahead and score, because not only are they going to have to stick to a run, but they haven't got the caliber of quarterback to fight their way back. Like if Baker's able to get 24 points on the
And
board,
they've got Robbie Anderson, who's capable of going deep. But the thing
yeah,
is,
who's throwing the ball?
Browns defensively have got they've got Denzel Ward as well, so it's not going to
Yeah,
be easy.
so they've
I
got
think
to
the key
they've got to
The key
score.
is CMC.
Yeah,
Key to the game
CMC,
is CMC.
and then get a early lead and then keep it, because the Browns aren't gonna try and outpass you, outgun you. They're gonna have to move that rock on the ground. So if you get a good lead, you might be able to hold it and walk away from here. You know, don't get greedy now. You know, but
All right. Okay.
So
So
Carolina for
we
me.
had two.
Carolina is
Okay.
prediction for me.
Okay. Do you know what? I'm gonna.
You said the
I'm not
Browns.
gonna
I
make
said
this-
Carolina. Will, who did you say? Carolina, right?
Carolina. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
let's
I'm
do
going
that.
the Browns. But last thing before we go, the Browns have somebody that I'll be watching out to see. Might be an antidote for CMC, and that's the Joker.
Oh, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
Okay. Yeah. But you know what? Like one thing I've realized about guys that have been tweeners in college, like they didn't quite have a position in college. I think you know this firsthand, Pete, with Simmons as well. They've got to play catch up because they haven't had the
No,
chance to
Joker
play
didn't
them.
play catch up last year. Joker was actually incredibly good last year.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Simmons did, but the reason why Simmons did was because the Arizona Cardinals defensive coordinator Vance Joseph doesn't know what to do with a tweener. The Browns
Yeah,
knew what to do with Joker. They let him play a
yeah,
bit of safety, a bit of inside linebacker. He played more towards the outside. He basically just did what he did in Notre Dame.
yeah.
And
If
if
they
there's a
gave him a
running
run,
back, he take out the running back all game. Like for this game, if I'm a DC, your job is CMC. If whoever CMC lines up, you go get him. That's your job.
It's gonna be fun to see. I actually think it's actually gonna be a fun game because even though they don't have their QB1, we know with the Browns it's not an open and shut case because they can just ram the ball down your throat. That's how they play. They play smash mouth football. That's how they are. But we've got our picks in, so now we go on to the second revenge game, and it is Russ going back to Seattle. There's only one winner in this game.
there's no need for a debate here, man. This is
no real
a
debate.
open and shut
There's actually a pick 'em.
Broncos.
This is a
This
pick
is
of Denver.
This is Denver, man. Like you don't even. As soon as I saw this, I was like, yeah, Denver, and I don't think it's even going to be close. I think this is a great tune-up game. This is like another preseason game for Denver, and I know you can't take teams lightly. Can't take teams lightly, but this is basically a chance for them to basically test out some stuff, see how they're moving, try out some new things. Because I just don't see how the Seahawks can be competitive in this. Like
I think Russ might even throw about 5 touchdown passes in this game.
Yeah,
I think Russ is really gonna because did you guys read the reports that came out today about
I'm going to say this again. My fantasy teams hope that Russ goes absolutely wild on Seattle because, well, I've got a lot of Russ shares this year, a lot of them.
I think he will. I think he's gonna go all out, and he's already known for his like incredible preparation. But for a game like this against his former team, can you imagine Russ preparation but souped up a little bit more? Plus, he knows that roster. He knows their weaknesses. He knows who has bad coverage, and he knows who his guys can beat. So this game has like blowout written all over it, and it's nothing to be ashamed of if you're from Seattle. Like,
okay, how many points does this is the prediction. How many points does Seattle score in this game?
38.
Wait.
Seattle.
Oh, sorry. Denver to score 38. Seattle, I think.
No. How did Seattle score? That I didn't say
12.
Denver because. All right, 12.
Yeah, they scored 12, 4 field goals.
12.
I'm saying 10. I'm saying a touchdown and a field goal.
No, they're not getting a touchdown. They are not getting a touchdown in this game.
Not on that defense.
I'm so confident.
With Geno Smith.
They're gonna get 4 field goals. That's gonna be what's gonna happen because Russ will tell that defense Seattle is scoring today.
They could end up they could get a shutout.
You know what? I'm just gonna say 40 burger. I'm gonna say 40 burger because I have no doubt Geno Smith that pocket's gonna cave in so fast. Geno Smith's gonna fumble that ball because Geno with the ball when we've seen what's happened in the past. I reckon he throws a pick and they get great field position. That helps them get that extra score and a turnover in their own side of the field because Geno Smith just gets caved in. So I reckon 40 burger. 40 burger for sure. That's my prediction.
Everyone said Denver, so Pete can lock that in. Cincy, Pittsburgh. This is an intriguing game because Cincy are favourites.
Yeah,
But the one thing we know about Pittsburgh and their defense, they never give up.
Yeah,
they don't.
They drag teams back down to even if the offense is not playing well, they'll drag the team back down to their level.
Yeah, the Steelers' defense, regardless of how the offense can play horrendously, but that defense will come out to play. It's one of the few teams where if the offense isn't performing, it doesn't hurt the morale of the defense. They're almost like their own creature, so they'll come out and perform. So the defense is going to play hard. which is going to really make it hard for Cincinnati. But I think Cincinnati have a lot of weapons. We all know this. The matchup I'm looking forward though is that offensive line against the front four, or four, 5, 6,
Yeah.
front six of the
The
Pittsburgh
front seven,
Steelers.
really.
Front seven. That's going to be the matchup here because, like I said, they haven't seen It's not. They usually don't see a guy like T.J. Watt. Once he starts bringing that pressure, you've got to be able to cope. And even though they shored up their offensive line in the off season, I think it's still going to be a bit of a test. And obviously, we have who's starting at QB, because I know is it
I
going to
think it's
be
Mitch.
Littlefinger's?
It is
Mitch, yeah.
It's
Okay, so
The
this
thing
is
is, Mitch. The one thing about Mitch is that he's not an incompetent quarterback. He's not incompetent. When
he's not incompetent, but he has lost this competition. So I think what they're doing,
He has.
what they're doing, okay, here, this is
He's lost it
standard.
by being anointed team captain, right?
Yeah, he's lost it by being annoyed. But here's how it works. It does happen. It does happen. They're putting him out there so that he plays himself out of the starting role. Because if you send out your starter, he makes a few mistakes. You can't put your backup into no. You've got to start your guy who's going to be the backup. He'll play himself out, and then they can go forward with the true heir apparent. So that's what's going to happen here. And you can be team captain and not. And like it's not. He's a leader.
Will George Pickens score a touchdown this week?
Absolutely.
In week 1,
Well,
he's
here's
gonna
the thing, though. I would love to see him score a touchdown, but I have so little faith in Mitch. I don't even know if Mitch can get the ball to him.
You don't think he's capable of getting the ball? I think.
I don't know. I mean. Okay. The thing is, I don't have much faith.
You're quite a
Mitch.
downer on Mitch's capabilities as a quarterback. Don't forget,
I
he was on the
am,
Bears where he
because-
had nobody like. Well, before he was on the Bears where they were just perennial underachievers.
He had
Obviously, he
Allen
was on the Bills
Robinson.
lots.
Come on now. He had Allen Robinson. Hold on.
That's a good point.
1 second.
Baby daddy.
Daddy
The
duties.
crying isn't the daddy duties and.
Daddy
But
duties.
okay. Who do you think's going to win this one?
I'm gonna go with Cincinnati only because I think
Cincinnati are big
They-
favorites in this game.
they have more experience. Like they have more experience. They've been in harder games recently, but you can't count out that Pittsburgh defense. They're gonna make it a hard game. I reckon Cincinnati wins, but that defense plays lights out and definitely has a few wow plays, 100%. And then I think we see like a mid-tier Pittsburgh offense as well hang in there. So I don't think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I don't think it's going to be high either. So I'm going to go with like 22 to like 17 or 18. So
Peter, who's going to win? You said it's going to be Cincy to win this, correct?
Yeah, it's another Bengals. I've looked
And
at
it's
it.
Bengals for me as well. Right, next game on our list, Detroit, Philadelphia. Can Detroit upset the Eagles in this game?
Detroit. Welcome to Detroit. Dan Campbell says, "Where is this? This is at Detroit."
It's in
Yeah.
Detroit.
So, like I said,
Yeah,
we
here's
had
my
a
prediction.
more.
Detroit gonna be your Eagles, and you're gonna come back here and be like, "I want Minshew in there. I want Minshew right now," because Jalen ain't taking us anywhere.
Is that,
I tell you what, here's the thing about Philadelphia. If we do lose to Detroit and Jalen Hurts doesn't haul ass in the game, they will be calling for him to just get benched on his first game, regardless of what all the stuff they screamed in the offseason. The Philly fan base, they'll be calling for his name straight away. Even so, but in my opinion,
You
I
took the
think
bait.
if we run this ball, if we we run the ball. I think our defense is going to play really stout. We just got to run the ball, minimize the errors, start off by establishing the run. And if we do that, I think we walk out of here the winners. Only because we can control the line of scrimmage at will, and our defense, I think, is just too good. It's
So
just
you've
not. I
got
mean, they've
Josh
got
Sweat,
Amon Ra,
Fletcher Cox, Kaiser
Yep.
White, Hassan Reddick.
Jordan Davis, Nakobe D, James
Kobe Dean's not
Bradbury.
the starting, but Nakobe Dean's not the starter.
He's going to be on rotation. He's going to be on
He's on
rotation.
rotation.
James Bradbury, Darius Slay, Chauncey at the back. Like this seems like an all-star defense if you think about it.
Yeah, you're strapped.
But the main thing is our defensive front. Every one of those guys can be main starters, but they're going to be on rotation for us. So I think that's going to give us a huge front. And I'm looking at Detroit. I'm seeing who they have. Amon Ra, Jameson Williams. Is he's not healthy yet? Is
No, he's still
He's not healthy.
He come back mid-season.
he? Yeah. So he's their hero. He's not going to be there. I think.
He's a rookie.
I think they
There's
have a
lot of
better.
matches for a rookie to be a hero.
I think he's already their number one guy, but he just needs to play. I think Jared Goff is a much better quarterback in terms of throwing the football. So I think he has to make big plays to stay in this game for Detroit. But I think they lean on DeAndre Swift a lot in this game. But you can't run the ball on that line.
Okay, does Amon Ra continue the rich vein of form that he had towards the end of last season? Because he did have a very good end to last season. Does he carry that on into the start of this?
Not
I
if
said
he's.
no.
I don't think he can with our secondary. Because even if he beats Slay or Bradbury, he's got Chauncey coming at him on the other side. So I don't think he can do that against us. His side, he hasn't got that type of.
But is he going to be?
I think he will be.
Is he going to be drawing the wide receiver one though treatment because he's got DJ Chark on the other side?
Well, okay. So here's the thing, though. Okay, here's the thing. Amon Ra will have a good game if they play him in a slot exclusively, because I don't see. I mean, you guys got cornerback, but he's not as good as your outside corners, right?
Yeah.
So if you put him on the outside, I don't think Amon Ra is going to have a great gameplay on the outside against those two Eagles corners. But if he's on the inside, he might get a couple of catches here and there playing in the slot, and he can play in the slot. So I think that's his best chance of continuing his.
I think his performance depends on how destructive Hawkinson is. Because if Hawkinson proves a problem in the middle,
which will be hard to do, but it is doable. Yeah, I just don't see. I don't see how they can pass or run, because I mean, it sounds like I'm hyping up my Eagles, but
you are hyping
DeAndre Swift is a great running back. I think he's better than any back we've got, which is unfortunate, but it's the reality. But
with our defensive front, with Miles Sanders,
with our defensive front, I think it's hard. But he's not going to be able to run inside. That's for sure. I'm thinking outside, but we have guys that can chase on the outside. Our corners are big as well.
You have a great edge setter in Reddick. Yeah. Reddick is one of the best edge setters.
Reddick, yeah. And we've got big corners that can run to the ball and make tackles if they have to. So I just don't see how passing the ball or running the ball, they could stay in it. So they're going to have to just rely on big plays. And those are harder to do. I think we're not going to make the errors because we're going to run it. So I'm just going to go with my Eagles. I don't think it'll be high scoring only because it's a run-based. It's going to be a run-based game. So I'm going to say, it's going to be 18-12. So not much, but we should walk out of here with the win.
Okay.
If we don't, that will be hell to pay.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Eagles too. The Eagles go.
I think the Eagles will win. I was just providing a little bit of a
too much firepower. And well, by the way, if your Eagles only score 18 points against the Lions, that's an embarrassment. Okay, considering the amount of talent you got on the offensive side of the ball, you should be aiming for about 20 points.
Well, if the QB can't throw that, then it's not our fault.
He can. So listen, give him some credit. He can't throw the football. Come on now.
All right. Okay. Next big game. NFC North. Vikings. Packers. Now, I believe the money line has this as the tightest matchup this week.
Not surprised, because you got.
You're not surprised. You are surprised.
I'm not surprised because this is one of the hardest games to call in week one because the Vikings have a good roster. They've got a new offensive head coach who's brought in a new system that's meant to be kind of like QB friendly, so it's going to help Kirk Cousins because Kirk Cousins plays better when he's played by an offensive minded head coach. Most quarterbacks do. You've also got a bad man in Aaron Rodgers. Two back-to-back MVP. He's on form, but his receiving course taking a huge hit by losing two key players in Devontae Adams and Mark MVS. So it's gonna be a difficult game. I'm gonna.
Alan Lazard injury as well. There's potentially.
So who's going to throw the ball to becomes a question. Green Bay's got a good defense. They have a good offensive line, but are the rookies ready to step up from day one? And are their third, fourth, fifth depth chart receiver ready to move up a depth if Alan Lazard can't play that type of
thing?
Is
anyone calling an upset?
I think I'm leaning towards that, and I'm gonna lock it in. It might be I might lose out, but I'm gonna go with the Vikings because Aaron Rodgers can start off slow, especially in week one. He has lost games in week one, but then
he definitely has.
So I'm gonna go with the Vikings to cause an upset.
I agree with Pete. I'm gonna go with Vikings here, and it's only because I think this is almost like new territory for Aaron Rodgers in that he's gonna have to work with the weapons he's got. He's got pieces, but they're gonna have to perhaps run the ball a lot more than he might feel comfortable with. But I think that he understands that's what he has to do to win. Remember he co-signed that Devontae exit, so it is what it is over there. But yeah, no, I think Minnesota are gonna win, not by much.
I think it's going to be. I'm gonna stick with the bad man here. I'm gonna stick with that jersey right behind us. Right behind us. So Rodgers is going to win this one.
You gonna stick with Nicolas Cage?
Yes, Nicolas Cage is going to win this game for the Green Bay Packers. All right, now we're going to rattle through the last 6 games just with our pick'ems. They are not very close matchups, I don't think. Not really. So, Chicago, San Francisco.
San Fran.
49ers.
And
San Francisco.
Say the 49ers to win.
49ers will win, but Justin Fields to impress.
Oh, that's a bold.
I think that's going to be the theme of his whole season. The team plays garbage, but he just shows how he's the guy. Yeah, he's the guy.
Okay, so this is actually a closer matchup, but not worthy of a shed load of discussion at the moment. The Commanders and Jacksonville. This is the closest matchup of just pure pickings for us.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want Washington to win here, but I think Jacksonville will, only because they're actually got some pieces there. And like I said, it's a new regime. We're going to see Trevor Lawrence almost like a fresh start with more structure and organization. Trevor Etienne coming back. They've got their guys there. So I actually think Jacksonville will get this win and start the season off really positive.
So, welcome in, Matthias. So, earlier on, we did have our pick'em. So, it was 2 of us picking the Bills and 1 picking the Rams, correct?
Yep.
So, I picked the Bills, Will picked the Bills, and Peter picked the Rams. So, that was the first game that we picked. Now, back... So, this game, the Washington game against Jacksonville... I think Washington's going to win it.
Yep. Jacksonville to win.
Got enough. Yeah, so you've got Jacksonville. Peter, who's going to win it?
I'm going to go with Trevor!
So Trevor Lawrence 2-1.
I'm going to go with
Trevor. Tennessee, New York Giants.
Oh, man. Tennessee.
I think Tennessee's going to win this, but
Tennessee.
I really want the New York Giants to do something.
Yeah, no, I think the league is better when New York has some kind of momentum. Either New York, the Giants or the Jets. Just give us something. The NFL is better when New York have some kind of presence. So
Yeah, New York.
but I do
New
think
York
Tennessee.
No,
State
no,
has
the
some-
NFL is better
no,
when
no.
they're not
No,
that
no,
good.
no. The New York State has some kind of presence. It's called the Bills.
Oh,
Well,
I'm not gonna
technically,
lie.
they can't.
Yeah,
They're not
yeah, yeah.
really.
But
They
Western
can.
New York, they are
Yeah,
Western New York
it's
after
true.
all.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they kind of
they
saw
do.
an entirely different state. They would like to separate from these other New Yorkers that are not doing much. They like
Anyway.
to be like separate us.
Are we,
Yeah,
are we
on the
also
level.
are we all saying Tennessee?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
it'll be
saying
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Ken Harry's about to go off.
All
Yep.
right, but another guy who's going to go off is Jonathan Taylor, Indianapolis.
Yeah, no, I think
I'll go Indy.
I think you guys take that. I'll be
Michael
really
Pittman
interested to
has a big
see.
game as
It'll
well.
be really interesting to see what Matt Ryan does. Because a lot of people have said, he's got noodle arm, whatever. He's at the end of his run. But I think, considering who you have there, the kind of talent you've got, the run game you've got, I don't think he has to do much. He's just got to minimize the errors. If you get that same play with no errors, you're in the playoffs and making a run in the playoffs. So I think that's what they want out of him. They don't need him. They don't need him to be a hero. They don't need him to be a
Addition
hero.
of Matty Ice is gonna bode well, especially for Pittman. I think we're about to see Pittman get 1,002, 1,003 receiving yards, 1,004 territory this year. Because I think Matty Ice is gonna really
More poised.
enhance Pittman's. I think he's always been on the fringes of being a wide receiver one, but this year Pittman is about to go off and be like a certified, like that guy in Indy.
Yeah.
I think.
So yeah.
Okay, next game on the list, Atlanta, New Orleans.
Yeah.
Is it?
New Orleans. Yeah. I mean, I've
Saints.
got no faith in Atlanta, man. I think, how you have teams that players go there to basically just coast, enjoy the city, and then call it a career. I think that's what ATL is right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, New Orleans, like I think they're on the rise. Big play ball
Officially,
with the
by the way,
receivers.
Atlanta, we're officially on sack for Bryce season. So
After they built that new stadium, or was it still under
we'll get a new
construction?
young quarterback. It's finished.
They should have done that 2 years ago, man. They should have done that 2 years ago.
Oh well.
Well, they still had that Matty Ice contract that they were lumbered with, and they managed to
Yeah,
get him out. It required somebody to actually trade for him.
yeah.
All right. Robert Salah's Jets against Baltimore. The final game of our prediction week. Week 1 predictions.
Baltimore, man. I think
Baltimore,
Lamar Jackson goes off.
I really want the Jets to do something this year, just something that Salah doesn't get the sack.
True. I don't think he would, because I think he didn't. Did it's all depends on. I think the GM will go before he does, only because
But
I
Jets
don't
tend to
think.
bring in their own guys sometimes.
Yeah, but I don't think he wanted Mr. Homie Hopper, So I basically think,
Broadway Zach.
yeah, Broadway Zach. I don't think he wanted Broadway Zach, so he had to coach. He could only coach what's there. But I want them to do well. Just like I said, I want a New York team.
Okay. So who do you think Salah wanted? Fields.
Yeah, I think Fields, man. I think he wanted Fields, but you can't go against the GM, because I think the GM was part of the reason why you ended up there. So, you know what I mean? You've got to coach what's in front of you. That being said, I think Baltimore are going to take this. I think they're just going to pound the rock. Lamar Jackson is going to play angry and he's going to be aggressive. Their team's healthy. They have everyone there. I don't see. I mean, New York has pieces, but I just don't think they have that grit to stay in the game, even if it is close. I sure as hell know Broadway Zach is built like a toilet tissue paper. So if he gets hit, I don't know how long he could be out for. Yeah, he'll unravel. So he can play well when he's not hit, but that's gonna happen. So
all right, everyone's picked the Ravens. So there we have it. We've managed to blast through all 16 games in 80 minutes total. Well, we're going to see everyone next week after the first week of action has been completed. So
Yep.
it's goodbye from me. We are going to send a raid over. We're going to send a raid over to a Madden streamer because that's what we're going to try and do. So there is somebody who's streaming a Madden tournament right now. So we're going to send it over to Rock, who is based out of Tennessee himself. So let's me get that ready.
Yep. Season started. I think we have the opener coverage has already started for those listening in. So Bills versus
we'll
Rams.
send everyone over to Rock, and it's goodbye from me, goodbye from Will,
Over and out.
and
Goodbye.
goodbye
Over and
from Peter.
What time?
And
So it was in a live stream.
yeah, so he's the one that I know from the community.
Yeah.
From like, I got to know him through Darrington Evans.
I'm just gonna get some food ready.
You do.
The NFL Game Pass is up.
Um,
Yeah, I think the coverage has literally just started. It's got that corny
What time is the game?
Disney.
it's in
I think
9 minutes.
coverage has just started.
All right, I'm gonna ask you, but Jalen Waddle versus Gabe Davis. Who's gonna have more
Gabe.
offensive production this week?
I mean, Gabe Davis has he's good. Like he was good last year.